Okay, welcome
Welcome
to
to
the Strong and
Strong and
Sassy
Sassy.
Show. Oh my gosh. So, Carol, this is it, our first episode.
Yay! Hello, welcome, and wow, I'm actually excited. I can feel excitement all the way from here, Joy.
Across the causeway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm really excited as well. We have come a long way in our friendship to reach this point. It's really amazing. And well, I guess later on we'll share more about our friendship and how we reached this point. So I guess let's start with who we are.
Mm,
So Carol, tell us a little bit about yourself.
yeah. My name's Carol Gockel. I'm a confidence coach, author, speaker, and change maker. I am passionate about helping women to rediscover and own their inner confidence so that they can shine like the goddess that they are. So, how I got into coaching was because of me. You know, I grew up not having a lot of confidence within myself. I made a lot of choices that actually sabotage my own personal growth and personal well being, and that led into a downward spiral, and that also led into uh, choosing the man that wasn't right for me, and ended up being hurt and being in an emotionally abusive relationship and marriage with the same man for 13 years. So after stepping out of that situation, I've helped, or rather, I actually gotten a coach, in order to help me to rediscover myself, rediscover my inner beauty and confidence. And hence, I'm doing what I'm doing right now in order to support other women who are going through transition like I have. And
Hmm.
about you, Joy?
Wow. So I think this whole self-empowerment journey, healing journey, and this whole wanting to empower other women journey really began in my childhood when I watched my grandmother call the shots in the family. And when it came to my mother's generation, my mother and my aunties were the one making the major decisions in the family. So I consider it like in my destiny to empower women. So that's the fun part. When I was young, I was adopted, and that was very challenging for me because as a young girl, I could not understand what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
The adults in the family did not really explain to me what was going on either. So when I finally managed to join the dots myself, I call it the day my world went black. That was when I kind of stopped talking and I withdrew from the world. I was angry, I was hurt, and then I was holding on to. I was trying to find an explanation, and the little Joy could not understand why. So she came up with this story that, oh, I must be so unworthy and unlovable that mommy gave me up. And I carried that
Mm.
limiting story with me for the next 30 years. In fact, I embraced it so much, it became my identity, and I had no idea. So until I slowly realized as an adult, the blessing was, I think, when I did my life coach certification, and then I was asking all this question, and there was all this role playing. Then there was when I realized, gosh, I have a lot of skeletons in my closet. So I realized that I have to do my own inner healing and empowerment before I can embark on being a woman empowerment coach. So I was petrified. So the only option was, there was only two options. Either I turn away from it and do something else with my life, or I choose to deal with it so that I can truly become a woman empowerment coach. So I really struggled there for quite a while. But the desire to empower women was so great that I decided to, okay, take a deep breath, let's do the work. So I think that was when I make a lot of realization about myself, and I realized that, oh, I didn't know it was this limiting story that was triggering all my behavior and acting out. I came from a place of lack. Everything I do
Mm.
was I was trying to prove that I was enough, uh, to prove that I was worth something. I was shouting for the world to hear. So I did a lot of stuff, therapeutic and other things to heal myself, to smash these limiting stories. And I took up warrior goddess training. I went to Arizona to do the firewalk in the desert with 50 over women that I have never met in my life. That was pretty crazy. And then came back feeling like a blank page, feeling like a rebirth has happened. And I'm ready to do my woman empowerment work. So I became a happy accidental author. I journeyed the whole experience because it was such an important personal pilgrimage. And then at some point, this idea just dropped in my head. Hey, did I just write a book? And that was my childhood ambition, to be an author, because I loved reading so much when I was young. Because I was so called, the only child because I was adopted. So the idea was so compelling that I went to my hard drive and then I'm like, is this a book? Who will read it? Like, why would it be a book and all that stuff? Because it wasn't a book, it was a journal. So then I realized that I told myself, if it's a book, it cannot be because, oh, it's my childhood ambition to be an author. I think that's a very selfish reason to be an author. I mean, just for myself. So I asked myself, what would be a reason for this to be a book? And I had no answer for several days. I couldn't sleep. The question was churning in my head. And one day I woke up and then it became very clear. If this book can inspire even one woman to do their own self healing and empowerment, take responsibility for themselves, then I think the book has done its job. So when I found that answer in my heart, then I knew without a question that, oh, this is going to be a book. And that book has became my Shakti on Fire podcast that I had 2 years ago, inspiring to so many other things, my positive psychology education, me going into hypnotherapy, and me doing a RTT with Marisa Peel. So starting She Network with Laura. It's like all because of accidental book. And then here I am today, right now in this moment with Carol doing a Strong and Sassy show and program. It's been an amazing journey. So I'm so happy that we are both here ready to empower women and I want to also highlight and share that I'm very happy because Carol is also our in-house beauty expert for She Network, and we have like over like maybe 14, 16 in-house expert, and
Mm.
Carol is one of them. So, ladies, dear She's, you have to join us in the She Network as well.
Yeah, indeed.
So, why are we starting this show, and why are we starting this Strong and Sassy program?
Mm. Yeah, Strong and Sexy, it's a program that we are both developing, for women who want to activate their superpower. And, absolutely, yeah, owning their transform self in a bold way. Yeah. It's actually
Yes.
quite amazing, Joy. Our lives got intertwined about like 14 years ago, right? And then we got separated for a while, and then we found each other again. And now we are actually, physically separated by the causeway. Yeah, you're
Yes.
based in Malaysia, I'm based in Singapore, and that's the whole magic about technology. We can be two places and be at one place at the same time.
Yes, the power of technology. So, Carol, share with us how we actually meet. I never get tired of that story. It's such an amazing story.
Indeed. Yeah, it was about 14, 15 years ago. And then, Joy was featured on the local newspaper as one of the personality who actually, the dance fitness instructor who actually brought pole dancing into Singapore. So she was being interviewed and featured, and I thought, okay, well, maybe I should just give it a try because at that time that seemed to be something really new, something
Mm.
bold, something controversial as well. And I was very curious. And because she's being featured and all her details were on that, and I went to her website and I decided to just sign up for a trial class. So I went there, signed up for a trial class. Okay, I was bad at it, okay, just so you all know. At that time, the pose was static, okay, no spinning pole, what you can get right now. And but that experience, that trial class actually changed the way how I view my body, how I got connected my mind to my body. I didn't know I could move in a specific way. And I felt feminine. I felt that I'm actually owning my body all over again. And it's a bit weird, right? To say it, and then if you're hearing it, it's like, what do you mean? You're moving your body every day, right? You get up, you work, you walk around. But a lot of the times, like your mind, right, it's actually not connected. When you
Mm,
move, do you just think that, hey, oh, I'm actually moving? Like, hey, I'm actually moving my arm, I'm actually moving my leg. That you don't really think about that. This is like, just unconscious movement. But in terms of connecting, and that was how it changed me, connecting and realizing that I have certain certain parts of my body actually connected to my mind. This is me. This is part of me. No matter how disconnected I am, or I want to be that I chose to be at that time. I realized that I'm suddenly, wherever my mind is and thoughts were, and then everything just came and then just came into me. I felt centered, for the lack of
mm,
better word. Yeah. And then
mm.
that gave me an empowerment, to actually move on to take another step in my life. But of course, our path didn't cross until much later. Yeah. But that changed me. And I remembered joy because of that.
Yeah, so it's so amazing that it feels like a lifetime ago. And the only reason that we reconnected again was because you reconnected the two of us together from a place of gratitude. When you send me a message thanking me for the lesson that you took 14 years ago, imagine my like amazement when I received your message like out of the blue. And it was 14 years ago. I'm doing things in a very different way and empowering women in such a different way. And to receive this message is like so amazing. It's really remind me of like the seeds that you plant. Never underestimate the seeds that you plant. It can go far and wide, and you might not even have a clue. Because
Mm,
of that, we reconnected, and then we say hi, and then you came on the tough conversation on Resilient
mm,
Wednesday interview, talking about your previous abusive relationship. And then we got involved in fun fest. We did fun
yeah.
fest together for women, and then you become the in-house beauty expert for She Network. And then now we're doing a Strong and Sassy program, all because of a note of gratitude that you sent to me 14 years later. So, wow, it's like, I love this story, and it's real, and it's our story. It's just so amazing. So, I also want to highlight this part. This is really a point that I'm very passionate about. When I was running SensUal Joy Studio, I was very alarmed and really shocked at how little body awareness that women have. We really have no relationship with all the different parts, right? Like we have our hips, and the hips is like one of the most glorious part of a woman's body. But most
Mm-hmm.
women have no clue where is their hip. So when I say move your hip to the right, they some of them will be moving other parts, or they have this like bewildered expression on their face, like they're trying to
Yeah.
understand, they're trying to feel it in order to move it. They can't even feel it, so they don't know how to move it, so it's like double the confusion. And some will be starting to move their chest, or move their shoulders. But I say move your hip, right? Move your hip to the right. It sounds so simple, but it's not simple at all. So that was when I think I got even more passionate about Central Joy, about empowering women at a point only with, of course, the body aspect. But that really planted the seed for me to like, wow, how much more I can do if I were to empower them in a holistic manner, body, mind, spirit. So it really started with Sensual Joy, and I think like a woman's body, we own it. We're born with it. It's a gift. It's a blessing. We need to be able to embrace it. And if you don't live in your body, then there's a lot of trapped emotions there, negative emotion, and if they're not addressed, because you don't know how to move, you don't know how to express and release those emotions, they can manifest in many ways,
Yeah.
disorders and dysfunctional behavior. So which is also why our Strong and Sassy show and program, we uh, we are going to make it holistic. So it's going to be fun. It's not going to be like so boring and serious. I mean, there is a time and place for being serious where you need to address your own issue, but we will also make it fun. We're throwing in like hypnotherapy, and there's makeup, and there's movement, there's image. I'm like, gosh, like you ladies are in for a treat.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, indeed.
So, coming to the name that we selected for our program, Strong and Sassy. So, I'm going to explain the strong part. Okay. Well, the strong part is pretty much straightforward because I'm a strengths coach, right? Like specialized. I mean, I do positive psychology coaching, but my favorite topic is superpower, right? Strengths. I love to coach people on their strengths, character strengths, prevalent strengths. In fact, Carol, love yourself,
Mhm.
Carol. That's your superpower name.
Yes, that's
Carol just
right.
experienced a very deep workshop, almost a half day workshop.
Mm.
Was it last week that you did
Yeah,
the
it was last
superpower
week.
training?
Yeah.
How was it? How was it? Share with cheese.
Well, I would say that rediscovered. Yeah, which is I think maybe some of you might find it a little weird. Why rediscover? Haven't I already rediscovered myself, years ago? But the thing is that as we move along our journey of growth and transformation, there's just new things that you discover about yourself as and when you're doing activities like this. It's actually a kind of a personal development, and I really like to read to go through all this personal development because I never stop discovering. I mean, I'm also have this love of learning. That's also one of my superpowers as well. I love to learn, and it is actually through knowledge, and that's how I grow as a person. And then having that session, I rediscover certain things, like strengths that I never thought it was strengths, and I find it interesting. At the same time, I'm still trying to grapple all of that because to me, I see my strengths differently, which is
Mm,
how the societal describe how strong should be. For me, in the past, my own definition of strong would be you have to be really tough, and you cannot cry, you cannot show your weakness. But then I realized that that actually translates into the strengths profile as well, that I can be both raw and vulnerable and strong at the same time.
mm.
So yeah, so that realization is like boom, mind blowing. Then I realized that hey, these are all part of me. Whatever I see as not a strength at all or a weakness, you can actually transform that into a strength that you can use it and how to actually benefit my life. Yeah.
Mm. So when we use the word strong here, we are not just of course it has all the different elements of empowering a woman, but we are also using science and research to back up this program. So there are like scientific strengths assessment that you can take, whether it's to measure to discover your character strengths, what are your top signature character strengths, or whether
Mm-hmm.
to discover what are your prevalent strengths that energize you, that you use often, and that you are a good performer in. So we are using all these positive psychology tools in empowering the woman in our Strong and Sassy program. So when we say strong, it's backed by science in this program. So what about the sassy part, Carol? Share with us about the sassy part in our program.
The sassy, but the word sassy has always been quite controversial in a way. I mean, when it was first coined, it actually meant something negatively. But then the thing is, like, for me, it is a way of life, isn't it? We have the good, we have the bad, and then it's about duality, and
Mm.
and for me, sassy, it's to describe a woman is a woman who is actually very lively, who is bold, and also feisty, right? To actually go with the word strong.
Yes, I love the word feisty. It just gets me. So we want to clarify this word sassy is
Mm,
for our program because there's so many definitions out there. Well, strong is a word that's pretty straightforward generally, but sassy is like that's like when I googled the definition of sassy, it was like whoa, it was a wide range. There's some like really negative connotations associated with
mm,
it, and then there's some like pretty nice a good meaning that's attached to it. So we thought, okay, let's better clarify on the definition of sassy as far as we are concerned. So these are the 4 points that we want to highlight. When we mean
mm,
sassy, what we mean by a strong and sassy woman is a she who firstly knows her worth, and secondly accepts her amazing imperfect self, and she's also not afraid to use her superpowers to empower herself while elevating others. So that to us is the strong and sassy woman that we want to empower in our program. So, what can our audience and what can our people, she's who come for our program, what can they expect from us?
Hmm. What can they expect from us? Well, they can expect, again, from your end, to how to activate their superpower. I think that's actually very, very important, for us to really know who we really are and what our strength, what then we can actually build upon. And then on my end, it is actually to embrace who they are and as a person from the image perspective, how they see themselves, how to actually uh once I just have a sudden lost train of my thoughts itself. Yeah. How they can actually embrace the feminine side, because I feel that the society kind of dictates that strong women cannot be feminine. Strong women, cannot must look a specific way, and I want that I want to debunk that. Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, I just want to say someone drop in to say
Mhm.
hi, and that is none other than Grateful L.
Hi, hello.
So, but Grateful L is Elio's superpower name.
Mhm.
When he attended our superpower training last week, that's the name he gave to himself, and he is also our latest and newest he for she ambassador for She Network.
Awesome.
Okay, so that was distracting L coming
Yeah.
back. But I love it. Like we have a he for she, like interrupting us,
Yeah.
but he that's because he's here with us. Thank you so much for dropping in, showing your support. So I think that for the he for she, for he for she program is truly influential. So So on my end, based on that, I've been empowering women since 2005 with just movement in the beginning with SensUal Joy Studio, teaching pole and exotic dance. And then now with the education that I continued after the studio, the positive psychology and the psychotherapy, I think I honestly have never felt stronger and sassier to empower other women. I truly feel like I have arrived in terms of the things that I want in my play kit, the things I want to use to empower women. It's all here. Anything else is a bonus for me. But I feel like
Mm,
I spent all my life just preparing for this, and I have this sense of like ah, it's here, and it's a difficult thing to describe. I just feel it in my heart, and there were so many times in my life when I wanted to give up. I just knew instinctively that there's this place I want to be, this space that I want to work towards, this being that I want to become. But it was so elusive, and sometimes I started to doubt myself, and I started to wonder, like, okay, maybe this is all not real. You made it up in your head, Joy. Maybe just go and get a job, just be like normal people. If, like that's my parents at the background. Go work in a bank. Which, by the way, I tried for a short period. It really doesn't work. It drove me nuts.
me too.
Yeah, it's like it just doesn't work for me. So many times I wanted to give up, and so many times I got sidetracked because I knew there was this place and this place that I want to be, but it was so elusive. I thought the day would never come. So it's really means so much to be right now to be in this space where I feel empowered enough, where I feel strong and sassy enough that I'm ready to empower other women, not just with my
Mhm.
own life experiences, but with the science, right? The science of positive psychology and psychotherapy. So I feel very thrilled to just to live in this space and breathe air from this space and to make things happen from this very blessed space that I'm in. So that's on my end. And then we have Carol. Our brave Carol here has gone through a lot herself, the challenging previous marriage to be where she is today. And I have to tell you, 14 years later, to see her and then to look at her Facebook profile, I was blown away. I was like, wow, what? She's a confident coach now, and she's doing so many things with other women as well, other women networks, and now she's involved with the She Network as well.
Mhm.
And she have learned all these tools, makeup, image, all these tools that has helped her, supported her. She's now carrying forward, helping other women to be stronger and sassier. So with the combination of my strengths and my skills and knowledge and Carol's, I mean, like this strong and sassy program is going to be phenomenal.
Mhm.
So what I want to highlight is since we use the word sassy, and also
Mhm.
Carol has mentioned that she likes the word feisty, and I love that word as well. So obviously we are going to practice. This is a disclaimer up front. If you are interested in a strong and sassy show, this is a disclaimer up front. We are going to practice fierce love on you. There is no oh you poor thing throughout the program. No. Okay, we're not here. We are here to listen. We're here to give you safe space, but we are here to do the work. So if you want to join in the program, you have to do the work. You have to be prepared to do that because we want you to be strong and sassy together. We are all born to shine together and shine bright as strong and sassy women of the world.
Mhm.
So if you want to join in the program, make sure you are ready for it. So for this program, um, who is it for? So there are like four categories of women that we
Mm.
think would find this program suitable. But of course, even if you don't fit into the category, but if you feel the calling, please, that means it's meant for you. Trust your instinct. So the first group of women is if you feel the inner calling to be stronger in this pandemic, in this extremely challenging time. I mean, like, wow, we actually live to go through a pandemic. That's pretty amazing to be alive in a pandemic. It's some amazing experience in and of itself as well. So if you want to be stronger in this pandemic and you want to own your feminine power, you want to live life from a space of strength, and if the second category is if you are going through a personal crisis at the moment, it could be divorce or some family issues or work challenges, and you want to be stronger so that you can overcome your personal challenges, then the strong and sassy program is for you.
Mhm.
Also, if you are currently or if you're currently going through a trauma, or if you have a past trauma that you are still recovering from, and you want to be stronger to heal yourself by tapping on your innate feminine power to heal, then again, this program definitely applies to you. Last but not least, if you feel the inner calling to grow, to be stronger for yourself and for the world, because you want to do great things right now, to not just support yourself, but to support your community, or there's some initiative that you're very passionate about, you want to rise up and live with a big why, a why that a huge purpose. If you want to grow bigger, then Strong and Sassy is definitely for you because remember, we are going to practice tough fierce love on you.
Yeah, and empowered women empower others.
Yes, women, the most untapped resource in the world, that's
Mhm.
you. And we're calling you to join our program because it's time to rise up. It's time to rise up together to be strong and sassy. So we've talked so much about the program. So what actually is the program about?
Hmm. Yeah, the program is a marriage of both of our area of expertise, right? Strong based on Joy's strengths based coaching methodology, and Sassy is really based on my confidence lady blueprint that I've developed over the years.
Mm. So we will review more along the
Yeah.
way in a
Mm-hmm.
subsequent episode. So today is just a hello, welcome, and to let you know that hey, there's such a thing coming up. We are slowly giving birth to this exciting program, unleashing it to the world. So we will review more. If you want to find out more, then you have to watch our every fortnight show.
Yeah.
So now we're going to move on to the next segment of our
Mm.
show, which is our strong and sassy world. So here we're going to discuss, and I'm very curious if you're watching this, comment and share and let us know as well. What exactly does strong and sassy means to you? So Carol, what does strong and sassy means for you?
Well, strong to me is allowing myself to be vulnerable, and that I found out, from my session with you last week. And then for me, sassy is allowing myself to be lively, to be bold, to live the life that I want, that I choose to do.
mm,
And you?
mm. I think for me, I have to say I will go back to the definition that we have, the so-called official definition that we have for strong and sassy, because I think it really resonates with me. It addressed all the things, some of the things I struggled with all my life before reaching this space that I'm in. Our definition of like knowing your worth, right? Like I spent 30 years with a story that clearly means that I do not know my worth, because the story itself really says I am unworthy and unlovable. So, and also to accept imperfection. I think imperfection is a huge, huge piece for women. We are always trying to be perfect, right? We want to be as efficient in everything. We don't want any balls to fall. We make sure we want to juggle. We don't give ourselves any break. And a lot of
Mm,
women also have challenges asking for help. There's
yeah.
some sort of shame, right? Carry a confidence coach, you would have experienced that with your client. There's some kind of shame that's associated with seeking help. You should be able to do everything well, right? Juggle all your roles equally well all the time. How is that even humanly possible? So I think the second piece is huge to me as well. Being able to accept that you can be amazing and imperfect at the same time, and it's totally possible because we are all that. We're imperfect and yet we are truly amazing. So and also not afraid to use your superpowers. I think
Mm-hmm.
sometimes women shy away from helping. Like, who am I? Like, who am I to help? And she never asked, like, why am I helping? Like such a busybody. I think we have all this
Mm, mm,
limiting stories. And as a strengths coach, I can also share as a fact that research have shown that a woman's weakness is courage, meaning that she doesn't enjoy overcoming her challenges. But imagine a world where a woman is given the nurturing environment and the right resources to support her, to give her permission to be herself, to be her amazing, imperfect self, to give her permission to rise up, use her superpowers to support other women, support the world. How much more better the world is going to be, and how the world will be so different. So I think again, this is an important piece that we must not be afraid, and we must not shy away from using our superpowers. Imagine if all the so-called heroes of the world shy away from using their powers, gosh, then the world will be even in a worse state. We must all shine. We must all, who are we not to shine? Which is also one
mm.
of my favorite quotes.
Yeah.
And I think the last piece is elevating others, because I think uh, this is something that I actually think that women is really good at. We're really good at raising other people up, be it our family, our colleagues. We're just not so good at doing that for ourselves.
Yeah.
So I think the last piece probably the easiest for women, but I think it's still a very important piece because it's a piece of togetherness, right? We are she, not
Yeah.
it's not just I am she, but we are she. So I think for me the our official definition is still the one that really resonates for me. There's all the important pieces that we need to work on, and then it has all the pieces that defines us as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, who is your role model when it comes to a strong and sassy woman?
Mm. The first person that I can think of is Rihanna.
Yeah,
And not
I was like, wow. So why is she your role model? I'm so curious.
Yeah, I mean, she's also quite a bit of a controversial figure, as well. I mean, why is she a role model? Because she is a woman, who is comfortable in her own skin, and then she does whatever she wants, and that to me is utmost confidence. She's doing something. She's actually making a change. Creating a movement in the way that she carries herself and in the message, the subtle message that she's carrying in terms of how she's putting forward, in her music, in the way how she treats others, and also in her beauty brand.
Mm,
So all of this translates, and that in she is also a very strong personality, because I guess I related to her abusive, physically abusive relationship with Chris Brown. previously, for those who don't know, and then how she survived all that and rise, to be the woman that she is today. So that is actually the strong part that I really admire about her. And then Sassy is, she's one of the best dressed icons in the world, is being recognized for that. So, and she's definitely, for me, a full embodiment of a strong and sassy woman. And for you, Joy, who are your role models?
I would say that my number one role model is Maya Angelou because oh my gosh, this woman is a fire starter. She's so accomplished, so talented, and again, I think maybe also because I could relate. I was reading bits of her stories, which was featured in a book about resilience, and it she so she was molested when she was young, and it's actually her mother's boyfriend. So whenever her mother goes to work for night shift, then he will do his thing and threaten her because she also have a younger brother. Threaten their safety if she ever say a thing. So she didn't until I think one day there was some wound, there was some blood, and the mother asked her, and she finally told the truth, and he was brought to the police, and he was actually sentenced to jail. I don't know the details, but I was quite shocked, quite indignant to hear that somehow, even though he was sentenced to jail, but he was let out of the prison the very next day. So Maya Angelou took it very personally, and that was when she learned. She again she built this story in her head, which relate to like because she's trying to understand what's going on, right? And then so she said, "Oh, words can kill." And because of that, she stopped talking. She stopped talking. I didn't stop talking entirely, but I withdrew from the world, and I talked very minimally. Uh, for many years, I just kept to myself. So I could relate to like first like this empowering stories that she created to make sense of her world because there was no other way that she could. And I could also relate to the part where she withdrew from the world. She stopped talking. So and yet and then she have gone through so much thing because she's black, so much discrimination going on. Her life was not smooth sailing at all for her. This is the third reason why I resonate with her. She also went into the world of books, which is what I did when I was a child. Because I was not talking to anyone, and I was so called the only child. Now there was nobody to talk to. I started reading and fell in love with character. Every day I live in this fictitious world of Andy Brighton and Jackson Five and all that. They became my friend. Um, so I could relate to this diving into the world of books for refuge.
Mhm.
And yeah, despite this extremely challenging growing up years, look at her. She's accomplished. She's a poet. She's an author. She's this is where the sassy part come in. She's actually a very accomplished dancer, um, and singer. She loved dancing more, but she somehow got more famous as a singer, and then
Mhm.
later part she became an activist. So she's full of sass, and her poems like "Phenomenal Woman." Just reading it, you get goosebumps. Like that, the language, the words that she used. She's definitely strong and sassy, and till her last breath, she was just forever giving back, giving back. She also stressed on forgiveness, coming from a place of love and being strong and always supporting other people. So I have so much admiration for this woman, even though she's been through so much pain, but she keep focusing on what was good. So this was what she was remembered for, known for, and I feel so inspired, to be this kind of woman with this kind of energy, able to. She has this um ability to kind of like like pop you, right, like trying to instigate you into action. I like that, right? So I think that's feisty. So again, back to the word feisty. Maybe we need to change the name of the show to Strong and Feisty.
Probably.
Yeah, so I think sassy also have that feisty element to it, and yet still elegant, still feminine, still playful. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think sassy is a cool word. So for me, is the number one. I mean, there's so many role models, so many amazing women out there.
Yeah.
But I think for me, my number one is still Maya Angelou. I'm absolutely her fan. I adore her. So what is come across as very interesting for me was like your role model was Rihanna. My
Mhm.
role model is Maya Angelou. Like it's like heaven and
So
earth,
different.
right?
Yeah.
So different. And I think that is wonderful, and that is a perfect illustration of how there is no right type, prototype for
Mm.
strong and sassy. It comes in, she who is strong and sassy comes in all shapes and sizes, all colors, all skins, and it is okay. You just need to find out who you are at your best. When you are
Mm-hmm.
strong and sassy, who you are, you don't have to copy, you don't have to emulate Carol, you don't have to emulate Joy. Just find your own essence, and the program is designed for you to do exactly that. Not to make you carbon copies of ourselves, but to
Mm-hmm.
help you to discover who you are at the core, this beautiful lotus that we want to blossom, who you
Yeah.
are when you are your strong and sassy self.
Mm-hmm.
So we also, I have an interesting question. So it's a little bit of a shameless question, but what do you find strong and sassy in me, Carol?
Oh, I'm so happy to answer. Thank you for asking. Okay, Joy. For strong, it's definitely your drive to succeed. Yeah, it's very evident, the most based on your story as well. It's like the immediate reaction, after you completed your the training, and then you say, hey, you know what, I I just want to just go straight, and you really make a beeline for it, getting all this training, getting doing a positive psychology, and eventually leading yourself, to do your book, and then right now empowering other women. And you have to have this certain drive in order to be who you are today, and that's why I find in you in terms of strength. And then sassy, definitely for your love of having fun. Because for people who don't know Joy, fun is really her middle name. I can tell you that. Everything we talk about, she's like, it must be fun. If it's not fun, she's not gonna do it.
Yes, well, I am the originator of Fun Fest.
Yeah.
And also the fact that we have fun ambassador in She Network, never heard
Yeah.
of in other women network. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also to remind myself to have fun because I can get too serious about my mission, my drive, my legacy, and I need that reminder myself. So planting fun ambassador in the She Network is also for myself as well. I think this is something that all women must remind ourselves because we get
Mm.
caught up taking care of other people, all the things that we need to juggle every day endlessly. I think we also need to place priority on ourselves, loving
Yeah.
ourselves, and having me time. So I think I do my best to do that. And now that I don't have my studio anymore, I need to find more innovative ways to create fun. So I
Mm-hmm.
really love coming back to our program. Really love that it has the word sassy inside. It's not just strong and strength, which is most of my program, but this program actually has strong and sassy. So I love it. It's like, well, it's also a good reminder for myself to have fun. That's why we decided that this program would be fun. It will have other elements, and it's not just serious, heavy topic, so that we
Yeah.
can balance the program. I personally find you strong and sassy, Carol. Everything that you describe me, I felt like you are also describing yourself. You've been in this very challenging abusive marriage. It's so easy to just stay there even though you're not happy, but it's safe, you're familiar with the pain. So many women do that, right? But
Mm.
you, even though in that difficult space, and I know all the personal intricate details about the length that you went to please him, and the length that you went, if I may say, to even deceive yourself that everything's okay, and this is a good space. Yet, despite all that, to find that strength, to have that strategy, to get yourself out of that very challenging situation. And not just that, like you have this great love of learning, as you mentioned before, learning about the colors, image, makeup, and then you did the um, by my request, you did the facial massage for the She Network opening launch because
Mhm.
I love it so much. Yeah, and I was amazed at how effortlessly you did the presentation, and that shows to me that you really learn, by heart, and you really integrated everything that you learned. It was a part of who you are. That is so powerful, and I only caught a glimpse of what you share with your clients. It's just facial massage. I haven't even seen you done the, image and everything. So what I saw was just a glimpse of your reservoir of knowledge that you have accumulated through the years to support yourself, and then now supporting other people. So I mean, definitely you strong and sassy. I think that
Thank
today
you.
you're pretty much unstoppable. Before our show start, you were telling me about this new program that you're doing, and that's why you're so busy, and and you are the one in
Mhm.
charge of most of the details. You are unstoppable. You learn all these tools, and you didn't just stop with yourself. You're now using it to empower other women, and you're very active in it. And you have like kids, you you have to take care of the kids, and then you're running all over the shop doing all this thing. I don't know how you squeeze so many things in a day. I'm truly amazed. And then now we're having this show. I don't even know how you make time for our show, but you do. So you're pretty amazing and unstoppable right now. So strong and sassy, Carol. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Love you, darling.
And I was just wondering, just a fun thought. Had you, because you came for you didn't stay long to do the pole dancing class then, right?
Mm.
Had you stayed on with the pole dancing lessons, I wouldn't be surprised that you would have rocked your self esteem, raised your self esteem even faster, um, together with all these other massive actions that you were already taking anyway to be strong. So um, yeah, you would have been different. Then maybe now we will have pole dancing in the Strong and Sassy program, and you can lead.
Mm, yeah, you know what? Maybe we can even include that sometime in the future. Oh, you know what? When we do our strong and sassy retreat, you can actually give us a demonstration, teach us how to do it.
Okay, let me think about that. Okay, so now we're going to move on to our last section, which is strong, sassy inspiration. So,
Mm,
in preparation for today's Hello episode, we have actually done some casual research on
mhm,
what women, and actually even men, defines as what makes a strong and sassy woman. So, I have a few definitions that came up to share. Somebody, Corinne Johnson. Thank you, Karine, for your feedback. She say it takes a lot to embody sassy. That is the unchained, bold, and beautiful femininity at its peak. You can see why I selected this. I was like, can you feel that? I
mhm.
get high already just listening to this definition. What do you think of this definition, Carol? And what are your thoughts, audience? Feel free to comment.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what I had in mind, when we talk about that, because I feel from an image perspective, a lot of people just don't really want to feel and say that they are beautiful. There is still a little bit of a shame, and when I really want to really cut that word out of the women that we're going to be supporting through our program, to really embrace that and then be bold, be beautiful and feminine at the same time. Who says a strong and sassy woman have to be, again, look a certain way? Just be you, and unleash that feminine inner goddess in you.
I can feel the
Mm,
energy when Carol is
yeah.
so energized by what she's sharing. I love that she used the word embody
Mm,
sassy, not just talk about it, intellectualize it in your head, but to really embody, to go and experience how does it feel to embody it. So I'm really glad that it's part of our program. And she used the word unchained, right? It's like whoa, and then bow, right? Like bow, and at its peak. So it's like whoa, right? We need to ask Karine to write our copywriting ad. She's
yeah.
really awesome, and then like then this definition really rocks for me. The strong and sassy definition by Karine. So Jiva, to her, she said, "You don't have to live to impress others. Run your own race and be so confident about yourself."
Mm,
I think that's really simple, straight to the point, easy to understand, but there's a lot of depth and a lot of wisdom to it. And by the way, Jiva is one of our she ambassador actually for International Women's Day. Uh, and this last definition that I want to share, there were several more. I just picked randomly due to time constraint. So this one has some fireworks to it. So brace yourself, take a deep breath. Yes.
Oh,
Mm.
yes, Rita. Yep, you said it, darling.
So I think it's quite similar to what Jiva has said, right? Just there's a different intensity, different flavor because we're all different. But it's the same, right? To Jiva said, you don't live to impress others, which is exactly what Rita, I like to call her Mummy Rita, which is what Rita is saying here as well. You don't have to care about what other people say about you unless it's going to cause harm. Of course, if something is going to inflict harm, then it's a different scenario, right? And if that happens, then give them your raw firework.
Ooh.
And I have to say that is so Mommy Rita. That's exactly who she is. She's feisty, but she's loving, she's kind, and she's generous. And she's someone that everybody goes to for advice. And she's motherly, but when it's required, yeah, she's going to give you that fierce love or tough ass kick that you need. I can guarantee you that. So strong and sassy. Yeah, I think Mommy Rita is also one embodiment of that. So you can see that everyone's definition is slightly different, but you can see some overlap, some similarities, some of the energies are the same. So we also asked, what are some of the role models when it comes to strong and sassy women? And
Mhm.
this, the feedback that we got. I think Michelle Obama is a favorite for me as well. I watched her documentary Becoming for about her book. I love the way she talks. She's just so elegant and concise in what she's trying to say. But there's so much humanity in the things that she say and so much wisdom behind it. Um, I do have a lot of admiration for this former first lady as well. I think everyone that's mentioned here is truly amazing. Except that I'm not so familiar with Alexandra. That's somebody that I need to Google. What are your thoughts, Carol?
Well, Alexandra, I think she is probably the role models for ladies who are in the 20s and 30s because she's one of the youngest senator in the US at the moment. And she is, I would say quite the force.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. Okay. We need to groom more such women to be
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in in the White House and whatever important houses out there all over the world.
Yeah.
Okay, wow. So we have come to the end of our first episode of She's Strong and Sassy. It is a very fun chat that we had going on, discovering what we find awesome about one another, what the program is about. We had some tiny glimpse. I hope that you are getting to know us better, a bit more comfortable with us.
Yeah.
Come and join us in our subsequent episode as well, where we will give more information about the program and we will dive into some of the topics that will be discussed in our program. We will have a fun chit chat over it. We might do some survey research again before our episode, so feel free to comment if you see that on our Facebook updates or on our pages. So, our next episode, episode two, when would that be?
That would be on the 10th of September, 2 weeks from
Uh,
today.
Yeah, so it's a fortnight Thursday show. The next one is on the 10th. The second episode is on the 10th. And the third episode is on the 24th, and so on. So do join us on the 10th for the next episode where we will share a bit more about ourselves, our own life learnings. And I think we'll share a bit about the She Pathway, which is really the
Mm.
heart of the Strong and Sassy program. So before we end, Carol, do you want to share a little bit about our Strong and Sassy post, how it came about, and why this post?
Yeah. Well, I fell in love with it when Joy asked me what kind of pose can we do, because she has a standard and an empowering superpower pose. And I said, this is a little bit different because we want to inject the sassiness into it. And then I found this pose, the Padma Mudra pose. It is known as the lotus mudra, right? Or the lotus. And for me, it's just the moment I looked at it, I didn't even know what's the name of the pose. I looked at it, I was like, this is it. Because what a strong and sassy woman is to me, it's a blossoming of a flower. That's the reason why I say, "Hey, this has to be the one for me." And then guess what? Joy said, yeah, you just read my mind.
Yes, that I thought that was really amazing. So I sent Carol some links because we were trying to explore and decide what will be the strong and sassy pose. A bit challenging because the space is so small. We need to do something. And but I've always loved the lotus pose because I do this exercise called belly fit. It's a combination of Indian dance. African dance and Bollywood dance and belly dance. So all my favorite dance in this exercise, and it's quite common. Sometimes inside the choreography there is a lotus mudra. So, and I personally have encountered the lotus mudra during meditation and so on. There's just something so beautiful about this gesture, and it really reminds someone of a lotus. And like Carol mentioned, this blossoming effect, and that's exactly what we're trying to do here with our Strong and Sassy program, asking women to give yourself the permission and to put yourself in this safe and nurturing supportive environment where you can blossom and be that strong and sassy woman in the world that you are meant to be. So the list that I gave her, actually I had my mind set on that one, but I wanted Carol to choose, and she chose like exactly that one. I'm like, whoa, that is like phenomenal. And I just take that as a sign that this strong and sassy program is really meant to be. We even choose the same mudra out of like 20, 30 mudras and
Yeah.
repeat exactly this one. So exciting. So I think that we are in flow state.
Yeah, and it just came to my mind, as you're describing it, that the in order for a lotus flower to strive, it has to be it actually in a odd condition. If you
Yes.
look at the lotus itself, right, it's growing in murky water.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the
Yes.
fruit, the lotus, I love it. As a child, my mom would always buy that for me, and she put it into soups and she would stir fry it. So it's actually one of my favorite growing up as a child. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it just
Wow.
came to my mind, and and it really kind of like just pretty much sums up what we're trying to do here, which is strong and sassy. And then we have this beautiful blossom. Look at that.
I'm loving it. Like you can just feel that alignment. It's a feeling that's hard to
Mhm.
describe, but I think like yes, like our time to come, join forces, join our superpowers to empower other she's to be strong and sassy. The time has come. The time is now. So we hope that you will join us, be it for our Facebook Live or for the actual program. Join us and empower yourself and invite your girlfriends, other she's to join in this journey. Let's not do this alone. We can do this together, better and stronger. So make sure you stay tuned and come and join us again on the 10th of September at 4 p.m. for our next episode. We will share more about the program. So thank you everyone for joining us. And so remember, be strong and sassy. Till the next episode, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.
Okay.